Up next here on NEC Women's Basketball on the Run, it is time for our Commitment to Success Spotlight brought to you by Provident Bank. Provident Bank, commitment you can count on. And joining us today from the Mercyhurst Lakers, it's junior forward Bailey Kuhns. Bailey, welcome into the Spotlight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
First time guest, we're so excited to chat with you. It's for you and the Lakers. It's your first year here in the Northeast Conference. So now that we're about two-thirds of the way through conference play, what has the experience been like? What have you guys learned so far?
It's been a super exciting year, full of a lot of experiences. We have learned so much about ourselves as individuals and as a team for sure. Um, we came up short in our last game here, but I think we are really starting to find our identity and who we are. There's a lot, the travel feels a little bit different this year, and it just creates an opportunity for everyone to bond and really just learn to mesh with each other and figure out who each other are, which leads to figuring out who each other is on the floor, which has really been showing forth in some games for us recently. So we're just looking forward to trying to finish out super, super strong and show who we are.
Now, you kind of mentioned it a little bit there. You guys have had some down to the wire games, Wagner, overtime, Chicago State, the game that is this past weekend that you mentioned you fell short in. But what stands out for the team as kind of the highlight of the year, the biggest highlight so far?
The biggest highlight, um, probably our first win against Lemoyne. That was our first NEC conference win. That was our first Division 1 win, I suppose. And I think from that point on, after that game specifically, we were like, okay, like let's really fine tune some things here. Like we were super excited about that game, but like we celebrated it and then we were like, let's really build off of that. So from there, I think we've seen a lot of things really just start to come together, like people stepping up and things of that nature, which is what we've needed. And that's probably the start of it all.
Now, we talked about this back at Media Day. We can't make the NEC tournament this year, but Mercyhurst is right there in the middle of the standings, so they're going to have a factor on the NEC tournament and how it shakes out here with all these games left in the final month. But what is the team's approach now to these last couple games? What does a successful finish look like for Mercyhurst to the season?
I think just continuing to play with the identity we have found and like be super, super confident in that. Like it took us a while to figure it out. Like this last loss, we were like, okay, yeah, that's a loss, but this one feels a little bit different because we know who we are and what we need to do to be successful. Naturally, you have seniors on the team who just want to have a really positive finishing of their senior years, and we have some competitive underclassmen who are just always looking to compete. So we just really want to work on going into every game, knowing who we are, and using that identity to come out on top.
For you personally, achieved 1,000 points in the game this past weekend. So what does that milestone mean for you just as a junior?
For sure, that would have been a little bit more exciting if we could
Yeah.
have come out with the win, which that's always the priority. I'm very grateful. My teammates allow for it, my coaches allow for it. They're the whole reason for my success. You can't do it by yourself. And I just want to keep being where my feet are, and what comes, comes.
Now let's talk a little bit about you and your basketball journey. So how was it? When was it when you were little that you fell in love with the game of basketball and you knew that, this was the game for you?
So I used to be really, really good at softball. Started playing softball earlier than basketball, but once I found that orange ball, there was something just a little bit more exciting about putting up shots and practicing than softball. It moved quicker, which was good for me because my attention span's a little bit short and I need things to go fast. And really, since the start of it all, I just remember just loving putting that ball in the hoop and playing for my teammates. It's always been the love of my life.
And how was it that you found your way to Mercyhurst?
Um, it was a gem, a hidden gem. I wasn't really sure it was up here in Erie, but then with the loyalty and dedication that the coaching staff showed me up here, and then the incredible education department, I'm pursuing education. Um, Met my fiance. It's been perfect. And I'm very grateful to be here now in the NEC conference. Like that was like, all right, let's go, put the cherry on top. So
Now, we talked about some of these games coming up this weekend. Central Connecticut first on Thursday, and then the game against Stonehill, which is Senior Day. You mentioned the seniors earlier, coming up on Saturday on ESPN Plus. Played those teams earlier this season. So, what does the team need to do to have a different result the second go around?
Well, I think we know who we are, which I've talked a lot about. And I think it's all about remaining who you are and not letting anyone else change you. So obviously teams, they know what they need to do to win. They know what they're going to try to do to stop us. But if we can just remain connected and remain in that identity that we have found for ourselves, we'll be good to go.
Now, let's get to these final five questions. These are quick hitters. So, first thing that comes to mind, let it out. All right.
Yep.
All right. Favorite color?
Orange.
Favorite movie or show to watch on long road trips?
Daredevil.
Okay. What would you rather? Rather have 100 roses or 100 chocolates?
Oh, 100 chocolates.
Okay. I'm with you on that. What's one thing that you can't live without?
um, Aiden. It's my
Okay.
fiance.
And if we took a survey of your teammates and asked them a trait or adjective to describe you, what trait or adjective do you think they would come up with?
Hardworking.
Okay, there you go. Well, Bailey, thank you so much for joining us. It's been fun watching you so far this season, and we look forward to watching a great finish for you and the Lakers this year.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Now, you could catch Bailey and the Lakers Thursday, 6 p.m. against Central Connecticut State on NEC Front Row. And then Saturday, we'll have the game 1 o'clock against Stonehill on ESPN Plus. And you can check out this full episode of the NEC Women's Basketball on the Run podcast. It's available now wherever you get your podcasts. This has been the Commitment to Success Spotlight, brought to you by Provident Bank. Commitment you can count on.